just heard a song that may be familiar to you if you're familiar with the musical Brigadoon. That was Waiting for My Dearie, performed by Emma Clark, who plays the part of Fiona in the musical. Good morning and welcome to Live from FM 91, conversation and performance with some of the area's finest musicians and visiting guest artists. I'm your host, Brad Cresswell, and we're coming to you today from the Dana Performance Studio at WGTE. I've got 4 singers here from Brigadoon, and we're going to talk with 2 of them. We're also going to talk with the director and the conductor of the show. Before we get started, maybe I'll have you introduce yourselves. Just say who you are and what you do for Brigadoon.
Hi, I'm Jeff Stevenson. I am a teaching professor of musical theater, voice, and history with the Department of Theater and Film. And for the last 8 years or so, I've been directing the fall opera for the College of Musical Arts.
Including this one, right?
Including this one.
Yeah, and Kevin Bilsma is here. You are a mainstay for all these Live from FM 91 shows. You're the pianist, you're accompanying them today, but you're also the musical director and conductor.
I'm the music director, conductor, and one of the pianists for the show. So I'm also the associate teaching professor of opera at the College of Musical Arts at Bowling Green State.
Yeah, and I took your name away from you, but you can say it if you want.
Well, and I'm Kevin Bilsma.
Excellent. Now let's turn to Matt, right? Matt Steele?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Matthew Steele. I'm a senior here at Bowling Green State University, and I'm playing Tommy Albright in Brigadoon.
Okay. And Emma, we just heard from you singing. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Emma Clark. I'm a second-year grad student at BG, and I'm playing the part of Fiona.
These performances are happening Friday, January 19th at 8 o'clock p.m., Sunday, January 21st at 3 o'clock p.m. in Kobacker Hall. That's in the Moore Musical Arts Center on campus at Bowling Green State University. And if people are interested in attending, they can just show up at the door and get tickets there. They're $10 for admission. There's free admission for BGSU students if they bring an ID card to the door. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the musical itself. Who can tell us sort of briefly, and I'm thinking of you, Jeff, what the musical is about?
Well, what the musical is about is you have a couple of hunters. It's spring of 1946. It's not even a year yet, or just about a year since VE Day. So both of these guys probably had fought in the war. And they decide to take a hunting trip in the Scottish Highlands, and they get lost. And they're wandering around in the Highlands all night, and when the sun comes up, in amongst the mist, this town called Brigadoon, which isn't on any map, appears out of the mist, and they go wandering in to try and find out where they are. And then they come wandering into town right after Emma sings Waiting for My Dearie. And then here comes Tommy. So I guess she's waited long enough. Like those great Golden Age musicals typically do. So Tommy and Fiona hit it off, and Fiona's younger sister, which is a little bit of a scandal, is getting married that day to Charlie, who you'll hear sing later, Come to Me, Bend to Me.
Okay.
And, but there was another fellow in town who was also in love with Jean, Fiona's younger sister, and he decides that he doesn't have to put up with that anymore and just see Jean married to somebody else. So he decides to leave town. And if anybody leaves town, the enchantment of the town, which they find out only appears once every 100 years, the enchantment will be broken and the town will go disappear into the mist that night and never reappear again.
Wow. Hate when that happens. So this town only appears once every 100 years. Did he get that right, Matt and Emma?
Yep. Yeah. One day every 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Their old school teacher, it was the minister, was concerned for the souls of the people in his town, because at the time there were witches that were roaming the hills and corrupting the souls of the people. And so he prayed for a miracle, and the miracle was that Brigadoon would disappear into the mist and only appear once every 100 years, so that it could never be corrupted by any particular time that it lands in.
We're going to hear some music in a moment from both Matt and Emma. They're going to sing a duet for us. But before we get started with that, let's talk a little bit about singing in English and with a Scottish accent. And how did that all work? Did you take Scottish pronunciation classes or
From me. I'm particular about the dialects.
Yeah?
Well, because character-wise, it defines Tommy and his best friend Jeff, who came with him, who's usually drinking.
So he must be Scottish then.
Oh.
Or Irish.
Yeah.
I can say that because I'm of Scottish heritage.
There
so.
you go.
Okay.
But it delineates them from the people around them in this town, because they also speak with certain antiquated terms, like I do not know and I cannot say.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's like these two guys wander into this town and they're speaking English, but everybody's got a weird accent. So
Peculiar accent.
a
Yeah,
peculiar
just
accent.
Well, every 100 years, your accent comes to the fore.
Yep.
I imagine. Well, let's introduce this next duet, and this is between Matt, who plays Tommy, and Emma, who plays Fiona. It's called Heather on the Hill. What can you say in way of introduction for this?
So, before this song starts, it is all about finding out that Fiona here has to gather some materials, some heather for this wedding that's going on that night. So, of course, Tommy, being Tommy, he asked if he can go with her to go grab this heather. And, of course, I get rejected at first, and I ended up singing the song to be able to try and go with her. So.
Yeah. Emma, let's hear Fiona's point of view.
Yeah, so I feel like at this point I kind of like him a little bit, but I'm not sure. He's a bit of a nuisance to me because he's following me around the town, so I don't really know what to do with him. So when he asks me if he can come join me to gather heather for the wedding, I'm like, no, you're just gonna slow me down.
Yeah.
So then the first part of the duet is him kind of trying to woo me, convince me to let him come with me.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it. This is Heather on the Hill, Matt Steele and Emma Clark, along with Kevin Bilsma at the piano here on Live from FM 91.
Can't we two go walking together out beyond the valley of trees in the common? And all the clouds are holding still. If you're not there, I won't go roaming through the heather on the hill. The heather on the hill.
We heard Heather on the Hill from the duo of Matt Steele and Emma Clark. They play Tommy and Fiona in the production at Bowling Green State University of Brigadoon by Lerner and Lowe. It's happening on Friday, January 19th at 8 p.m. and Sunday, January 21st at 3 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon at Kobacker Hall, which is in the Moore Musical Arts Center on the campus at Bowling Green State University. You can get your tickets at the door. They're $10 for general admission. Unless you're a BGSU student and you have your ID card, then it is free admission. So we've done a little musical chairs now, and we have the two other remaining singers from the cast who are here with us. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves, starting with you, Finley.
Hi, my name is Finley Klein, and I am a second-year student at BGSU studying musical theater.
Wow. And Andrew, let's hear from you.
I'm Andrew Puschel. I'm a senior at Bowling Green State University, and I'm playing Charlie in the show.
Okay. So before we get there, I want to focus on Kevin for a minute, because the last segment we did, Kevin, we didn't talk with you at all.
I felt neglected.
We don't want anybody to be neglected here. Talk about working with the singers, and especially with young singers. Do you see a difference between working with like professionals at Toledo Opera and this group of young singers who are all wonderful?
They're spectacular singers, and I'm so lucky I get to work with professionals. But what I especially love is the fervor and excitement that these young singers bring to their roles. You know, we work really hard at Bowling Green to find repertoire that's going to suit the voices that we have. And so sometimes we'll do an opera like we did Monteverdi last year, Coronation Popea. But this year we had the right voices to do a Golden Age musical. Yeah. And because more and more opera companies are now offering things like Golden Age musicals as part of their season, this is a way for us to introduce our students, who we are sure are going to enter the professional field, to have this set of skills developed as well. And I mean, these 4 young singers have been nothing but spectacular through the entire rehearsal process. Their ability to sing in Scottish is extraordinary. For Finley to learn all those words, my goodness, incredible. But
and she has 2 songs like that.
Exactly. Poor thing. But there's just something about, because these are younger students, just this overall excitement and love of being on stage is something that's infectious. Yeah. And it reminds me every single day of why I love to do what I do. It's a lucky thing for me.
Yeah, Finley, Kevin mentions that you have sort of a patter song. Can you talk a little bit about the character of Meg and how you managed to do that song and get the pronunciation and the accent all at once?
And she's a sophomore.
And you're so young. All right.
So yeah, I played the character of Meg Brocky, and she's a woman of the world. She works as a town milkmaid. She's also the town flirt, and she has quite a reputation for that. And so I think that she kind of likes to be the center of attention, and that is why her songs are so wordy. She likes to be telling stories. Yeah. And as Meg, learning those songs, it really wasn't as difficult as you think it'd be, particularly My Mother's Wedding Day, which is the second song that I sing in the production. And it's in a way a lot wordier than even Love of My Life. But because it's the story, and because I'm in this character's body and I'm portraying this person who loves to tell that story, I kind of was able to fall into it, and it actually became quite a lot easier once I started getting into character a little bit more.
Yeah. Jeff, I overheard you say that you cast her against type. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, Finley is a sophomore, and Finley is not, how do I put this, forward with the men. Right. She's not necessarily a flirt. She's actually, one of my brainier students. She's very, very smart, which I think is also an advantage to her to be able to get out all these words. Yeah. And her second song she sings at the wedding reception is talking about her mother's wedding day. It's like mechanic, it's like, what? And she gets them right every night.
Time.
Every night we in rehearsal, she's got it down solid, and it's just amazing. So for Meg Brocky, I mean, she's in her body, and she uses her body. Yeah. And it's been a great experience watching Finley bring that to the fore and to experience, being in her body and being a little bit more forceful and sometimes rough. But she's got a heart of gold.
I sense an Ado Annie in your future.
And this particular character was typical during this period of musical theater. That there were like Hildy in On the Town and Ado Annie in Oklahoma and Meg Brocky. There was that secondary love interest plot. Right. In a lot of these musicals, and she fills it out beautifully.
That's wonderful. Well, we're going to hear the song Love of My Life. Finley Klein is the singer, singing the part of Meg, and we have Kevin Bilsma once more at the piano here on Live from FM 91.
At 16 years I was blue and sad when father said I should find a man. He thought I was a bugle and got up and marched away. My pa said, daughter, there must be one, someone who's true or too old to run. So I'm still looking to be a wife and find the real love.
That's the song Love of My Life, one of two songs performed by Finley Klein at the musical Brigadoon. In the musical Brigadoon, she plays the part of Meg. Brigadoon is happening at Bowling Green State University. It's Friday, January 19th at 8 p.m. and Sunday, January 21st at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. This is in Kobacker Hall, which is in the Moore Musical Arts Center on campus at Bowling Green State University. And tickets are $10 for general admission. You can get those at the door. Or if you're a BGSU student, you have your ID card, you get free admission to the opera. That's a nice perk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we just heard from you, Finley Klein. That was amazing. Congratulations on, I understood just about every word
Thank you.
that you said. I mean, that must be a challenge for you. You talked a little bit about, that earlier, but I'm curious, Kevin, is there a difference between working with musical theater singers and working with like opera singers? Because we've had both in here.
I like to think that we all learn from each other. That, for example, Finley also is a really great, legit singer. So she's able to tell these story songs, these patter songs, and use a bit of belt. But then when she hears, more classically trained singers around her, she also can, sing beautiful art songs and ballads and things. And for opera students to be around musical theater singers and understand this idea of the importance of developing character, of living in character, it changes their whole outlook on opera. So, yeah. Again, for me, it's just so great to see these two worlds kind of combining and creating great art together.
Yeah. So we're finished with our Finley Love Fest, but we're going to turn it over to Andrew now. Andrew, you play the role of Charlie. This is kind of like an Irish ballad almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your character in this musical.
Well, Charlie's interesting, and I resonate with him a lot because I can see myself in Charlie a bit. He's this charismatic kind of flirt, but in like a cute way. All the girls love him, and he's a smart guy. I'm hyping myself up, but everybody loves him. He loves to dance. He loves to get around, do stuff, and he's just as nervous when it comes to this girl that he's in love with because he's gonna get married this same day. And, I partially wonder if they picked me for this role because I got engaged right before we really started crunching into the show. And it's just the character is me, so it fits really nicely.
Nice. Well, let's hear it. Come to Me, Bend to Me is the name of the song. What can you tell us about this song before we hear it?
Well, so this is sort of, it's right after the point where I barge into their house as Jeannie is packing up all of her stuff, I think presumably to go move in with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not allowed to see her. So, of course, I have to do this love song to her so she can hear me one last time before I get kicked out.
Andrew Puschel sings the role of Charlie, Come to Me, Bend to Me, with Kevin Bilsma at the piano here on Live from FM 91.
Give me your lips and don't take them away.
Come to Me, Bend to Me, that's sung by Andrew Puschel here in our Dana Performance Studio, playing the role of Charlie in BGSU's production of Brigadoon. We've had 4 different singers today. This is happening at Kobacker Hall in the Moore Musical Arts Center on campus at BGSU. The dates are Friday, January 19th. That's an evening performance at 8 o'clock p.m. Or there's a matinee at 3 o'clock p.m. the following Sunday, January 21st. And you can get your tickets at the door. You can get in for free if you're a BGSU student with an ID card. Now, we've got Matt Steele and Emma Clark back at the microphone. Welcome back. Tell us about this piece, because this is a signature tune.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this song is right after our first kiss that happens on stage. So this is like a surreal moment for me because at the end of the day, we've been lost in the woods and we've been awake. Me and Jeff have been awake for so long that I sing this song of, I don't know what's happening, but I feel the greatest that I've ever felt in my life. You know, this love has really invigorated my soul, and I can't help but sing about it.
What does Fiona think of this, Emma?
I feel like for me, Fiona, she re-enters the space and he's singing the song to his friend Jeff, and I think that she's kind of playfully entertaining this fun idea that love could be blooming, and she's like, "Oh yeah, love, woo!" But
the title is almost like it
exactly.
being in love. Yeah.
So for her, it's very much like maybe like we did just have our first kiss, but also I've only known him for like a couple hours. So
also, you're dealing with the idea too that they don't know the deal with Brigadoon yet.
Mm-hmm.
That. I mean, if
You're
this
talking
is
about the 100 years thing?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they go to sleep and they disappear for 100 years. But that's still a secret. They don't know yet. So she makes the decision in that scene after they sing this song, and after Tommy looks at the family Bible and realizes that, hold on, these people are living in 1746 and it's 1946. So he presses her for some answers, and she says, I can't tell you, but Mr. Lundy can, who is played perfectly by Professor Chris Scholl, the head of our voice department.
Right.
And so she takes them, both Tommy and his best friend Jeff, to have Mr. Lundy explain the miracle that they disappear. But if somebody outside of Brigadoon wishes to stay because they fall in love, then that's possible, and then they can stay in Brigadoon. But and this song too is in the first act. The kind of song it's called a conditional love song. It was invented by Oscar Hammerstein for Showboat. Mm-hmm. Let's make believe I love you, or people will say we're in love from Oklahoma.
Right.
If I loved you from Carousel.
Yeah.
This is exactly one of those kind of songs where you can get a love song in the first act without them actually completely being in love yet.
Yeah.
So
why do you think this song is so popular? Because everybody knows this particular piece.
Maybe because they don't have to commit yet.
To the rest of the piece. It's almost like being in love.
Yeah.
It's energetic. It's a great tune. It's got a big, strong finish, with the duet at the end. It's got everything that is the hallmark of a really great Broadway tune.
Mm-hmm. All right, no pressure for Matt and Emma.
They've got it. They've got it.
Let's hear it. This is Almost Like Being in Love. Matt Steele plays the role of Tommy. Emma Clark playing the role of Fiona here on Live from FM 91.
Maybe the sun gave me the power.
When I was falling,
I could swear I was falling.
it's almost like
Almost Like Being in Love, one of the signature tunes from the musical Brigadoon by Lerner and Loewe. We heard Matt Steele playing the role of Tommy and Emma Clark singing the role of Fiona. They are two of the young artists who have been with us this morning, along with the director and conductor of BGSU's upcoming production of Brigadoon. It's happening on Friday, January 19th at 8 p.m., Sunday, January 21st at 3 p.m. in Kobacker Hall, which is in the Moore Musical Arts Center on campus at Bowling Green State University. I want to thank everybody who has appeared with us this morning for giving us a little preview of what's to come.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Live from FM 91. The broadcast engineer for our program is Logan Cooney. I'm your host and producer, Brad Cresswell, and thanks for joining us today here on your public radio station, FM 91.